Hi, hello everybody, welcome back to the Wolves Let's Play. So, whilst you've been away, quite a lot has happened. We've had a full fixture list through January. We've had the transfer window, and there's been goals going in all over the shop. So let's get into it straight away. So, the fixtures, whilst you've been away, we had Newcastle first up, which we dominated, 3-0 win. Conor Cody, Trincao and Chan have scored. We've then had the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, which, well, we got Man United, and yeah, the scoreline does completely reflect the game. We got demolished. 4-1 on the day. Ronaldo, Pogba and McTominay got a brace. Pedro Neto managed to squeeze one in, but just it wasn't a great performance at all. Nothing gelled, nothing worked. We then, for the return leg, won 4-2, and we were so close here to going into extra time. We went 4-1 up, and I was dreaming, I was believing. I thought we could snatch it, but then Alanga scored in the 77th minute, and it just all went wrong. I went full-blown attacking after that. I think I moved about 4 players up front to try and just get that goal to get us through to extra time, and it wouldn't come. Those of you who have eagle eyes will see a new name on the score sheet there as well. I'll go through the transfers after the schedule breakdown, but you can see we've got Gabriel Barbosa. He got 2 goals in this game, which I think was his second or third appearance. And between the Carabao Cup games, we had an FA Cup third round demolishing of Middlesbrough, which is where Barbosa got his first goal, opened the scoring, 5-1 win, demolished them. Great performance. After the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, we played Crystal Palace, and again, dominated that game. Comfortable 2-0 win. Adeyemi again on the score sheet. He's on absolute fire. Probably going to be signing in the season unless something happens in the next 4 months. Trincao got on the score sheet again as well. He's been a revelation as well, and there's an update on Trincao as well to come. Now, unfortunately, we ended the month really, really badly. It pains me this because Dan Gosling is awful, and he's got the winner. Yeah. There's not really much to say about this. You can see from the performance ratings, everybody underperformed apart from Dendoncker. And it was just an absolute mess. Nothing worked. Players just forgot how to pass. We deservedly lost this game. And then we've played West Ham. Last game of January. Thought it was going amazingly. We went 1-0 up. We went 2-0 up. And then Ruben Neves got sent off. So I'm going to blame Ruben Neves. And I did. I told him to his face. Said, it's all your fault, Ruben. Fair play to him. He took it on the chin. And he even agreed to sign a new deal afterwards as well. Which I think he felt guilty. So he put his name down for another 4 years at the club. Man United was sniffing around him, and he's the pivotal figure of this Wolves team. And with Moutinho, he's getting older. He's still a brilliant player, but he's getting older. We need to keep Neves locked down for as long as possible. He does have a release clause in his contract now, but it's for like an obscene amount of money. It's like 90 million. If somebody comes in for 90 million for Neves, then absolutely fair play. They can have him, and I'll take the 90 million. So that's the fixtures for January that's out of the way. As you can see, we're 5th in the league. We do have a game extra than everybody else that's played around us. So if Chelsea win, they go above us. If Leicester win 3-0 or more, they go above us. So we could potentially go down to 7th, but I don't think any Wolves fan would begrudge sitting in 7th place in the Premier League at the beginning of February. Considering right now they're in 10th or 11th, I think they are in real life. And they seem to be okay with that. So I think sitting 7th or best case scenario 5th, I don't think they would have any issues with that whatsoever. If you move over to the assists here, you can see Moutinho is leading the way jointly with Andy Robertson. We don't have any other Wolves players in the top 3 of anything other than yellow cards. Unsurprisingly, Ruben Neves. It seems to get one every other game, really. So that's the games, the schedule, the breakdown. Let's go and have a look at the transfers. So we'll pop into the transfer history here. And what we'll do is we'll have a look through the outs first. So Adama Traore to Newcastle for 23.5 million. It's not as much as I did want to get for him, but it was so hard to find anybody interested in him. And he's got amazing physical stats, and he can dribble. And to be fair, on this version, he can cross as well. But if you look at he played 4 games. So to get 23.5 million for somebody who just wasn't playing, I think is great business. Roman Saiz, he was coming to the end of his contract, and he's okay, but again, he just wasn't playing enough games to warrant. Well, he wasn't playing any games, so to get any money for him, I thought it might as well. 4 million, decent amount of money. Meriton Shabani's gone out on loan to Luton just so he can get some game time, because he does have decent potential. He's got good stats. He's 22. He could come back into the side next year, I think, if his stats progress, and he could be a rotation option. Or we can potentially at 23 still learn him out one more time, unless there's interest in him, and then I'll potentially listen to offers. This is the big one. Willy Bolly. You're not reading that incorrectly. £53 million for Willy Bolly. Now, he was a starting centre-half for me. He was really good. Played 17 games, got 7 goals. To be fair, those 7 goals were near-post corner goals before the patch was put in to update that. So it's not really a true reflection of the stats that he would normally put up. But for 53 million, he had to go. He's 30, he's only going to get worse. He might get better or level out for a couple of years, but he's not really going to significantly improve. And for 53 million for a 30-year-old, I can't turn that kind of money down. Similar kind of thing with Johnny going to Real Madrid for 30.5 million. He is a very good player, but he's played like 5 games. He's been injured for the whole entire first part of the season. He's come in and played 5 games, done okay. I've got Wolves to 7th without him playing. So for 30.5 million, if you're looking at that, that's 50, 60, 70, 83.5 million, 87 million. That's 107 million for those big 3 sales there. That's a lot of money for Wolves, which I've reinvested. And then I sold Oscar Burr for $1 million, which he was out of contract. He wanted to leave on loan because he wasn't getting any game time, and I thought, I'll just sell you $1 million. Again, he's okay. He's 23. If he was 19, 20, I would keep him with them stats. But he's 23. He's not going to improve better than that, and he's just an okay player. So get $1 million for him, might as well. To the ins. Obviously, we've already been through, and you've seen that we've signed Gabriel Barbosa. Everybody knows who Barbosa is. He's been linked with Newcastle in real life, so we're probably going to see a lot more of him. I think everybody and the dog has signed him at some point in some version of Football Manager. I've known about him from his Santos days for years. From pre going into Milan, I used to sign him all the time in like this sort of era here on FM because he was an absolute baller. Obviously, his move to Inter Milan didn't work out. His move to Benfica didn't work out. He went back to Brazil, and you can see from his stats here, 25 and 29, 14 and 25, 19 and 43. He's been banging them in. And in real life, he's probably pushing Firmino to be the number 9 for Brazil. So, well, between Firmino and Jesus. But I don't really see Jesus as a 9. He's a weird one. That's a story for another day. My thoughts on Gabriel Jesus. Now, the board once I signed Barbosa, had kind of noticed that I've not been signing anybody Portuguese, and that's one of the sort of key criteria for the job. So Fabio Contral was transfer listed for £92,000. He's Portuguese. It's literally the only reason I bought him. I figure that he's an experienced international. He should really, I mean, with the amount of Portuguese players that we've got in like the changing room, he should be, you know, a good influence in the changing room, on the training pitch. He can pass on some experience, some knowledge. You know, he's played in Champions League finals. He's probably, I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he must have won significant trophies with Real Madrid throughout his time there. Seemed like a no-brainer. He's on a very, very small amount of money a week as well. So, replacement for Willy Bolly, Dan Axel Zagadou. The only negative about his stats is his acceleration. For me, I think everything else is more than decent for a 22-year-old centre half. He's only gonna get better. He might not like significantly improve, but some of these stats will improve. For Wolves, a mid to Europa League sort of ambitious team, I think he's a brilliant signing. He's a ball-playing defender, so he's going to act as cover for Cody. Obviously, Cody's got 8 or 9 years on him, so Cody's going to be on the decline as Zagadou is sort of going into the early arc of his peak at like 24, 25. So that was an option in my head, as well as him then being the defender next to Cody as well, because he can play as a central defender, not just a ball-playing defender. So he can play both roles. And if we desperately need to, he can play as an emergency left-back. But I mean, I think I've got about 40 left-backs in the squad at the minute, so that shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, sign him for 5 million. Now, there is a story here which I'm going to need some help from you lot with this. So if you can please put your thoughts and give me some ideas on why this happens. It might just be a bug in Football Manager, I don't know. But his contract is due to expire in June of 2022. So I tried to approach to sign him. His agent came to me and said, he's not really that interested in signing, so this is what he wants, and you'll have to meet these promises if he's to even consider negotiating. So I said, all right, okay. Selected all the options that he wanted, and that wasn't good enough. So I waited a couple of days, I tried again. Same thing. So I changed all of the options to like the maximum he could be. So he wanted to be an important player, I changed it to star player. I said I could treat the club as a stepping stone, all those kind of things. Still wasn't interested. So I was a bit confused. So obviously because his contract's running out, I thought, well, I'll just put in a cheeky bid for him. For, you know, I've got all this money, sire, so put in a bid of 5 million, rising to 6, and it got accepted. And he was really interested in negotiating terms. And he only wanted to be a squad player. And he signed. But he wouldn't sign on a pre-arranged contract deal. It's bizarre. It's mind-blowing. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a bug or a glitch or I've just done something wrong and I'm being a bit dense. But if you can pop some comments in below and let me know if this is something that you've come across or if it is just me being a bit dense, then that would be much appreciated. Because I've come across it with a couple of players now. So either I am really stupid or missing something, or it is just the game being a bit glitchy. Carlos Alvarez is the next signing we made. Minimum fee release clause. He's just turned 18 and it's 975 grand. It was no brainer. He's only going to get better. He's young. I've sent him out on loan to get first team experience. Even if we end up, he ends up not progressing and we end up having to sell him, we'll make more than 975k off him. So that's really the rationale for that one. Ralph Salafu, I was watching Zealand's videos the other day, and this guy popped up on one of the, I think it was the top 10 wonder kids outside of Europe, and he was on there. So I checked him out on my game, and he looks as though he's pretty decent, and he cost 56 grand. So again, he doesn't have a work permit, but he can go out on loan to Famalicão or Grasshoppers, or I'll just offer him out on loan and see who comes up for him, because the transfer window's still open for other clubs outside of England. Or I'll just keep him in the under-23s, because even without a work permit, for some reason on Football Manager you can still play in under-23s. Again, I don't actually know if that's a real thing or if it's just a Football Manager thing. But and then once I'd made that signing of Ralph Salafu, the board again came to me and said that they were not happy that I hadn't signed enough Portuguese players. Now, I understand that one of the key criteria for the job is that I need to sign Portuguese players. I already have about 8 Portuguese players in the squad. Is that not enough? I've already signed Gedson Fernandes on loan. Trincão's already at the club on loan. I signed Fabio Contrao. I think that's enough. I think they're being very, very, very silly. But anyway, Diego Costa, FC Porto's first choice keeper, he requested to be transfer listed because he'd fallen out with the management over agreements or promises that had been made and broken. Now, he was transfer listed for some obscene amount of money because his transfer value is really high. Obviously because he's starting keeper for Porto. So I loaned him instead. There is an option to buy for about 30, I think it's 37 million. I mean, he is a good keeper. He's going to push Sarr to be first choice keeper. I've got him on a 12-month loan. He's only on 12.5 grand a week. I probably won't be signing him for 37 million. But as a backup keeper, because John Ruddy his stats are declining now, and if we just compare the two, I think it will become obvious why. Costa's better than him at pretty much everything apart from communication, and physicality is like one different. But considering that John Ruddy is 35 and Costa's only 22, it made sense to me. And obviously he's Portuguese. But I don't think, once I'd done this, I think I realised that loans don't necessarily count towards players signing, in inverted commas, that are Portuguese. So we'll have to wait and see with that one. And then the only other signing that we made was Namdi Collins from Dortmund. He was transfer listed, and we needed some backup at centre half. He is okay for the amount of money we paid for him. Again, if he improves over the next 2 to 3 years, he might make it into the first team. If he doesn't, we can sell him for profit. So that's the transfers all dealt with. We'll go in and jump into the squad here. I'll just drop into the tactics screen so you can see what the formation is. So this is the general formation that I've been playing throughout the whole of January. To be fair, it's the formation I've been playing for the whole game. I've not changed. I'm going to need to bring someone in for Neves because he's suspended. So that's going to need to get sorted. It's probably going to be Bruno Jordão. He's been injured. He's just come back to fitness. He's an okay player. I really probably should have signed somebody for that position to sort of cover him, because Jordão doesn't quite hit the mark. But my thinking was that I can play Moutinho there for the games that he can't play, and then bring in Fernandes for that position. Which also reminds me as well, with the money, I've signed Gedson Fernandes permanently. He'll be joining on the 30th of June. The option was in place from the loan, which was 5.8 million, I believe it was. Yeah, 5.8 million. And Trincão as well, because Trincão, his option was 25 million. his option was 25 million, so I just put that down and signed him. I did have to I had to give him a lot of money in terms of wages, but he's got 12 goals in 24 games as a wide player. I can't really not sign him after that. Can I? I've got to. And if you look at his stats, his attributes, sorry, he's just really good. And I've not been playing him on the right. I've been playing him on the left because ever since we got Barbosa's been up front and Adeyemi's switched out to the right, which. But Barbosa was, or is, should I say? Yep, he's on international duty with the Brazilian squad. And he's not going to come back until the 2nd of February. So he should be in place for the Southampton game. So what we'll do is I'll skip forwards and sim forward to the Southampton game. And then you can, for the first time, because I have got my new setup, I've got my new PC, we can actually run through the game in real time. You can actually see the game being played and you can see how fantastic we're going to be and beat Southampton, he says. Yeah. Let's see if we actually manage that. Let's go!